Hi guys, John Honeyball here, and today I want to talk to you guys about a really grave topic, and that is our own mortality. Um, yeah, I did that on purpose, um, but that really, first of all, my mom would not be impressed with me making jokes about death. But it does reflect my view on this matter, and that is we're taking it way too seriously. Um, I know people often say that we as doctors become desensitized to death, which I guess could be considered true if you compare us to the rest of the population. Um, but I think as a greater community, as the community at large, we've probably become more sensitized or more we haven't been touched by death the way previous generations have. I mean, in the past there were constant wars. Sickness was a way bigger issue than it is today, and death was always like constant companion. It was always there. You knew it could come at any point for you. Whereas now, most of us don't experience death until maybe we reach our 20s, our 30s, when a grandparent dies, and then obviously they are elderly. It's uncommon and it's sort of an exception to a rule when we're touched by death at a young age. And I think that's why we feel so different about death than we probably should. I think that fearing death, there are basically three people out there. Let's start off like that. There are three people or types of people out there. There are those that are sort of ignorant of things who basically they like the giraffe sticking his head in the sand, trying to pretend that he'll never die. I think a lot of us are like that, especially when we're like young, we're teenagers, because death doesn't seem really like a reality. It's something you see in TV shows and movies, and yeah, that's sort of the only place it really exists. The second type of person is the person who is probably the another large percentage of the general population, and that's the guy that really fears death. He fears it. He's genuinely scared of it. He doesn't like to think about it. He doesn't like to talk about it. That's it. And then the third person, this person is really like this is like the 0.1% of the population, and that's where doctors also automatically end up in. Or most of us. There's always exceptions to everything, but and that is that you are comfortable with death and you accept death as part of our natural life cycle. So I advocate that you move into this third group, even regardless of where you come from. But we need to think about death. I think the reason why the world is in so much chaos right now is because people fear death. Um, if we didn't fear death as much as we did, this thing probably wouldn't be such a big deal. Um, but yeah, so why should we deal with it, and what is the benefit of accepting it as necessary, as good, and as normal? I think first of all, if you reach that point when someone close to you dies, it won't have as significant an impact on you. And when I say significant, I mean in the negative sense. You won't be crippled by it. You will see it as good, as normal, as part of life, and you will continue on. The second is by realizing that we're all gonna die someday, and not knowing when this could happen. It could happen anytime. I think, Corona has made it blatantly clear we can die any day. Whether it's a virus or whether you get hit by a truck crossing the road. I mean, life is really unpredictable in that way. We don't know how much time we've got left, and that is really, if we think about it, you can either respond to that, and again, by crying and being upset about how unfair life is, or you can look at it as great motivation, as something to propel you forward with a sense of urgency, so that you live every day flat out, like carpe diem, seize the day. Go flat out, because it might be your last, you just don't know. So those are sort of, for me, the two main benefits that you get from accepting death as necessary. And I think obviously the third is that you don't live in constant turmoil and fear. And when life-threatening things pop up, like a coronavirus, it's also not going to paralyze you in fear and keep you from living each day to the best of your ability, because you already accepted that fact that life is precious, life is short, and that life could end at any moment. So those were my short thoughts, a couple of thoughts on death, and why it's necessary to think about it, to meditate on it, and to accept it as good and as necessary and as part of life, so that we can really use it as fuel to live better every day, knowing that we are really the most blessed generation ever. People live for longer than ever before. People are healthier for longer, and yet we are still unhappy about it. So let's shed that that negative outlook on death. Start viewing it as a good thing, and let's use it as that fuel that really ignites the fire inside each of us every day to give it our very, very best.